Hello everybody, welcome to this week's weekly bump. Thank you guys so much for being here. So this week, as usual, we have 3 piles. Pile 1, we're using Malachite today. Pile 2, red Jasper, and pile 3, lapis lazuli. So feel free to take a moment, pause the camera if you have to feel your way if you feel pulled or drawn toward one pile or another. And then the timestamp for each pile will be in the description box and the comment thread down below. Please don't worry if you're not feeling intuitively connected to a pile. I always say you can just randomly pick one. I do believe there is a little bit of destiny involved with these pick a card readings. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much. Talk to you in a sec. Okay, pile number 1, you guys selected the Malachite. Let's go ahead and see what these cards have to say here. So Queen of Wands, 7 of Coins, Knight of Cups, 6 of Coins and Strength, and 7 of Wands. What I'm really sensing here with these 2 cards is kind of almost like a forced patience, whether, forced through certain circumstances, forced through current state of finances, whatever it is. It's like, nope, you got to sit still for a minute. We're in massive preparation mode right now for December, which is going to be a really big month. And it's just kind of like a hold your breath, wait and see kind of time. And yes, I know Mars is going direct and all that, and that's all very well and good, but I also think there's still a dragging as Saturn makes his way through the final degrees of Capricorn in Western astrology. And it's just a good time to kind of step into that wisdom and just say, you know what, I'm going to look a little bit further into the future and not expect a lot in the immediate right now. Nothing to turn around today or tomorrow or maybe even next week is too soon. Let's look further in toward 2021 and just allow ourselves to sort of flow in this moment right now. I look at this Knight of Cups. Now, this could be an external influence, like a different person, or it could be an aspect of yourself as well. Feeling the impatience there with the horse, kind of wanting to move forward, whereas here she is, perfectly happy sitting still on her throne. So this could be the 2 aspects of yourself. The part of you that's like, yeah, okay, I get it, universe. I hear ya, I'll sit still, I'll chill out. And then there's that part of you like, yeah, but I want it now. Yeah, I want to go after it. Yeah, this is the way I want to go. This is how I want it to happen. And, I'm feeling just a little bit of ego coming through this Knight of Cups right now. And it's really, really important, especially since we have the Strength card, which signifies the differentials between, the higher and the lower self here. It's really important that we step into that higher self. The fact of the matter is that things are evening out and there's nothing that we can do specifically, unless it's like placed in our lap, There's nothing that we can do specifically to really even the scales right now. We have to just allow things to unfold. And that's kind of an annoying phrase. I'm even getting tired of saying that. And I feel like I've been saying that all freaking year. Just wait for it to unfold. Just wait. But I think this, the massive amount of change that occurred for us internally as individuals this year was so much bigger than I think we realize because we're still in it. We can't, it's so hard to see your way out of it when you're in it, but it's a lot easier to see your way out of it when you're outside looking in, So we just got to get to that point where we're outside of it. We have to understand, right? We have a very Piscean quality, right? We've got mutable water here. That there's I'm feeling like our perspectives or our perception is skewed in the right now. Kind of like when you put a straw in a glass of water and the straw looks like it bends. It's kind of what we're not like looking at the reality of it. We're looking at it the way the energy is being filtered and it's skewed. So in acknowledgement of that, the higher self says, okay, well, I'm going to get out of my egoic, my egoic mind, which tries to define and push everything into a box and tries to force everything to be in a way that I feel comfortable with. I'm going to step out of that. And I'm going to allow things to get, maybe a little bit unorganized. Maybe it's there are some tough decisions to come. Maybe there's some weirdness that I'll have to deal with. Maybe I'll have to, maybe I'll have to backtrack a little bit, but that's okay. Because then at least nothing will have been done in a impulsive manner. I don't see any impulse coming from you guys. Remember, the Malachite is a beautiful heart chakra stone, right? That green, deep green, beautiful color. And when we're associating with our heart, there is not a lot of judgment. So judging of others, judging of circumstances, judging of possibilities is just not necessary right now. And it's probably going to be counteractive if you start trying to do that. Okay? Especially if you try to start defending something, knowing that there's really not a lot that you can do to change things. Now, the things you can change, obviously, behavior, your own stuff, you can change those things. So if there are some habits or whatever that need to be addressed, or you can do the small things. If I can talk today, you can definitely do the small things. But when it comes to the big picture kind of stuff, you can keep the eye on the end game. But do you know what I'm really feeling? This is weird. Reading is so weird to me right now. I'm feeling a void of course kind of energy. You guys know what that is? So when the moon is transiting every couple days, there's usually like this time period when it's like finishing out a zodiac sign and it doesn't aspect any planets. Sometimes it's only a void of course for like a couple of hours or minutes. Sometimes it's like a full day, depending on the situation of the planets. But when we've got this void of course moon, it's usually not a good time to like make pretty solid decisions. So that's kind of how it's very void of course, this energy. It's very up in the air. And then when things start hooking later, when aspects start occurring later in your life, things start connecting, you'll be like, okay, now I feel more set. I feel more comfortable with making choices. But right now, it's just a little void of course. All right. So it's just patience. Okay, well, there you go. Stand still. Yeah, exactly. Stand still. I'm looking at the Queen of Wands here. This is actually where you should be. And some of the other words that I use with strength, or one of the other words that I use with strength, is actually patience. Because oftentimes it does require patience. Patience does require strength. What is going on? Why can't I talk to you guys right now? There's something weird. There's something funny about this energy. Maybe that's kind of like how your mind is at, just kind of babbling all over the place, just kind of feeling a little incoherent right now, trying to make sense of stuff that just cannot be made sense of. So anyway, stand still. Practice not judging. That'll be a really good thing. Practice being non-judgmental, especially toward other people, also to yourself, and especially toward possibilities. Don't be that person that's like, oh, well, that's not possible because of X, Y, and Z reasons. Okay, that's just kind of shooting yourself in the foot here. And the fact of the matter is you don't know what next year will bring. Okay, so stand still, take a breath. You can relax in the moment, relax in the stillness. Oh, well, it's not necessarily a void, of course, but it is the void. Okay, we have the dark moon energy coming out. And then we also have, oh, wow. Okay, so we have the void, we have surrender, we have stand still. No wonder why the words aren't even coming. They're not coming because it's not time for us to make sense of things. It's just simply not. Our logical mind that tries to wrap our head around stuff, that tries to logic its way through situations, it's just kind of a useless tool right now. This is about the heart space, 100%. That's why you guys picked the green. It's about being guided. And more importantly, it's about faith. And that's a tough word, I know. It's a lot easier to say than to do. Faith is always blind, but it's not blind when you've experienced all the reasons why faith always works. So you have to just lean in your past experience of when faith has worked. It's just kind of a time to stop trying, to stop exerting a huge amount of effort, to stop trying to get anyone else to do anything, it's just not going to work. People are really stubborn right now. This year has definitely brought out the stubbornness in a lot of people. And that's not on you, right? That's definitely not your responsibility in any way, shape, or form. Oh, look at all this moon energy we have. Okay, so we have the moon, and then we actually have moon cards. So there's just a lot of moonlight. And we know that the moon energy is, it fluctuates a lot. It's not stable. As it goes around the zodiac, right, every day it aspects new planets, and it's either getting pulled tight, or it's releasing, or it's void of course, or it's, powerful, or it's weak. I mean, it's just 28 days, round and round and round and round again. So this is in honor of the cycles. This is in honor of your personal energetic cycles that you're experiencing, okay? So just honor where you're at. It's time to release negative energy. Okay, so... well, I mean, we just had that, not a full moon, but a new moon in Scorpio. So what else is left? I mean, honestly, 2020, what else is left? What else is left for you to really let go? If there is anything, now is the time to at least acknowledge that you're still hanging on to it. Sometimes that's always the first step. Sometimes that's the hardest part, to acknowledge that you're even hanging on to it in the first place, and therefore making it more realistic that you can actually let it go. Okay, and then we have damsel, kind of like that feminine energy. Understanding the nature of healthy romance inspires you to rely on yourself. Yeah, there is a lot of self-reliance coming through with the Queen of Wands, for sure. See, because I think the Knight of Cups energy, it's not a rock for you to lean on. You have to be your own rock. You're not going to be able to find a home space or a safe space with that Knight of Cups. And that Knight of Cups might be your ego, or it might be another person. It's definitely not where you should be, hanging your hat at this time. You have to come back to yourself. You have to come back to that higher wisdom. Understanding the nature of healthy romance inspires you to rely on yourself. Okay, so take that in, surrender. Maybe some of you are dealing with romantic issues this week. Wouldn't be surprised. What else do we have? Sensuality. Express your sensuality. Now, this may or may not be sexual. If I'm being totally honest, it might not be sexual. This is enjoying your body. Enjoying the smell of that meal that you're cooking, enjoying the feeling of sleeping in a little bit longer than normal, enjoy the feeling of washing your hair, enjoy the feeling of stretching or meditating or breathing, like really, really coming in contact with your body. And I love that with the surrender and the void of course kind of energy, because it's like, you know what, let's not exert so much effort in the external right now. Let's just enjoy the internal states. And I actually feel a relaxing of a lot of energy coming from you guys, to the point where maybe you're like, I don't even want to think anymore. Like, thinking is boring. Like, I'm tired of thinking. I'm tired of feeling about stuff. I'm tired of just all the things. And when you get bored of thinking and you get bored of feeling, what's left is just a peaceful state. And maybe that's what this is really all about. It's just coming into that true inner peace that the yogis and every meme on Instagram and Twitter and all over the place, everyone always talks about over and over. Inner peace, just be. It's all about the being. It all sounds like a bunch of BS until you actually click into it for yourself. And you're like, oh, damn, that is not BS. That is real stuff. And maybe that's what's going to happen for you over the next few weeks, is you actually truly understand what these, yogis are actually talking about. There will be a lot of progress for you if you can actually do this. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people, not necessarily the people watching this, but just people in general, they're going to take this fluctuating energy, this surrender and void energy, and they're going to have a freak out. They're not going to know what to do with it. And this is what can create anger and projection and a lot of frustration and angst and anxiety. And so if you do see that or witness that, whether, within your family or your workplace or whatever, all you have to do is just stay away from it as much as possible and not accept it as your responsibility. Okay? All right, we're going to keep them kind of short this week. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Thank you so much. You guys know I love you. I hope you have an amazing week. Talk to you soon. Take care. Okay, pile number 2. You guys selected the red Jasper, a very grounding stone. Let's go ahead and see what comes out for you guys. Queen of Swords, 10 of Wands, 9 of Coins, High Priestess, Temperance, and the Page of Swords. Okay. The very first word that's coming to my mind with these first 3 cards is delegate. If you can, delegate. I feel that there's a lot that you're taking on that you actually really don't have to. This is not a week to be overloading yourself with stuff that other people can do for you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to say, to your partner or significant other, like, hey, I'm just running, because I know you have a lot of other things going on. Like, I know you have important things happening. You're working hard. You might be trying to, start something new this week or get some projects done. I'm feeling a lot of closure actually this week for you guys. So there might be things wrapping up rather than beginning. And I feel an activity, but I also see a really smart activity. She's really analytical. And I always say she's kind of like my conductor of an orchestra, right? She's got her baton, she's got her hand up, and she's not personally playing the music, but she's creating the music or telling the musicians what to do. So when it comes to your children, when it comes to your significant others, if you have coworkers or people working underneath you, now is a fantastic week to be like, hey guys, I really, really need you on board. There's a lot going on. We've got some beautiful music to make, and I'm really counting on you, okay? Because your time needs to be a little bit more free for some higher level type of stuff. Now, from a spiritual perspective, I almost feel like kind of a perfect flow, as long as you want it. I'm not going to say it's going to be uninterrupted flow, but it will be a perfect flow once you get there. And it will probably feel like that most of the week. High Priestess, Temperance, Page of Swords, all of these is just like zen, chill, relaxed, sense of knowing, intuition, following your heart, all these wonderful things, but there's also accomplishments being made. So I don't know, it's like work, but it doesn't feel like work. You're checking your stuff off the list, but you're also I don't know, I feel like the efficiency this week is higher than normal. Which is great, right? Nothing wrong with that. Making money, doing a good job at your work, standing up, doing your presentations, doing all your things, and not dropping a beat. You're not dropping anything. I see you succeeding in all the things. You might be feeling an ambitious drive coming forward. Be like, okay, I'm finally feeling ambition. And maybe that's a welcome feeling, because after 2020, I know that ambition has been kind of hard to come by. And it's a wonderful thing to be really working with, because it is kind of what pushes you forward, as long as it's not swallowing you whole, It's what keeps your creativity and your mojo going. It's what helps you continue to feel like you're contributing in a positive way. So I do see that kind of kicking in right now, which is really good. Now, the Page of Swords, it's kind of an indicator to me that maybe there's something new coming on board. And there's kind of like an exploration. While things are wrapping up over here, you're exploring new avenues. Maybe you are starting a new project, or maybe you're trying to learn something new, or you're picking up a new book to read. Maybe there's a new employee starting at your company this week, or, I don't know, whatever it is. This could be big, small, doesn't matter. But I love the lightheartedness and, again, the non-judgmentalism. Right now, I said this for pile 1, now is not a good time to judge anything, okay? Or to judge anyone, especially. We are still very skewed, okay? From a sidereal perspective, okay, not Western astrology, but sidereal astrology. Technically speaking, Mars retrograde has been happening mostly in Pisces. So this Piscean Mars retrograde has been very deceptive. And we have to just understand that we're still seeing a lot of things through that Piscean lens, which can be, illusions, kind of illusionary, a little bit of a smoke and mirrors quality. So you don't have the whole picture yet. You don't have the clarity yet. You have clarity with the things that you know you got to get done and you know that you already have moving forward. When it comes to the new things, if it doesn't work out, great. If it does, great. If it takes you in a new direction, great. Who cares? It doesn't matter. This is more about fluidity and enjoyment of the process more than anything else. I like the 9 of Coins. I think there's success this week for you. This seems to be, I don't know what the other cards say, but with these 6 only, it seems to be kind of a light week. We're preparing for all the December stuff. December is going to be a big, big, big month. Thank God, finally, right? We're coming to the end of 2020. And it's not just like the end of the year. It's like the end of the astrological stuff going on in Capricorn. So it's kind of poetic that it happens on the winter solstice. Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius conjunction, boom. Then all the Capricorn stuff is like finally done and over with, right? So yeah, anyway. That's enough rambling. Okay. Oh, and abundance right on top of the High Priestess with the 9 of Coins. Well, there you go. And you can define abundance however you want. To me this month, it seems like you're just going to get a lot done. And because you get a lot done, maybe more money comes in or maybe that client finally signs the contract or whatever. So define abundance how you want. Whether it's an emotional thing, whether it's a material thing, it doesn't matter. You get to enjoy that. You get to call that into your life. The universe sees the work that you're doing. It sees your intentions. It totally understands the direction you're trying to go. And I think the Page of Swords is an indicator that some doors are going to start opening for you. Ooh, assessing. I like that with the Queen of Swords a lot. And I do think she's in a period of assessment right now, which is why, she's a very Libran, right? Cardinal air with the Queen of Swords. She's, diplomatic, collecting evidence, neutral, the judge, the scales of justice, right? Just assess. That's why no judgmentalism, no polarization, just completely down the middle split. Don't judge a person, don't judge a circumstance, and definitely don't judge possibilities. Okay, because if you immediately cut yourself off from a possibility because you prejudged it, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And patience, yeah. Up till, the next couple of months, we're going to need patience. That's going to be something that, we have to make sure we maintain a good attitude during this time. Saturn through the last degrees of Capricorn can definitely bring about, in Western, a very melancholy kind of vibe. It can create a somberness. And that's why I think you're actually doing a very good job at redirecting the energy into something good and productive. You may come off a little bit with an edge, but I think that's okay. I think it commands respect, which that's always a good thing when people actually respect you. Okay. And I like actually, we've got a number 9 here and a 3-6, right? 36 adds up to 9 as well. And we know that 9 is, like our most spiritual number. So there's something powerful happening. There's something wonderful shifting for you. I often see the 9 as being highly, just very non-restricted too. He's just, he's like the most free. And while you're accomplishing a lot, I do see you freeing yourself from a lot of things this week too. Oh, and then we have Uranus. That's a really great one. When we're talking about freedom and liberation, there's a quality there of something random or unpredictable that could happen, right? Page of Swords could come in, a door could open, a person could show up. There could be a little bit of volatility, but see, the Queen of Swords with the 10 of Wands, 9 of Coins, to me, there's a stability that cannot be shaken by a Uranian aspect, right? It just is so self-contained that no matter what happens externally, that it's completely unbothered. This could be a very unbothered week for you, which might be nice. Nothing is yet set in stone. Yeah, and that's a good mindset to have. No, nothing is yet set in stone. There is nothing that is official yet. That's why I'm saying don't prejudge possibilities, and certainly don't cut yourself off from them. We've had a pretty substantial opportunity to change this year. And maybe believing in the big stuff is something that we can actually allow ourselves to do now. If you're not a naturally optimistic person, like some people are wired for that. They've got freaking Sun conjunct Jupiter in Sagittarius, or like Pisces or something. And it's like, oh, like so unstoppable with their cheer or something, But other people have to be conscious of that. Like I'm kind of a more melancholy type of person, and I have to consciously be like, okay, Jane, like you're being a little bit on the Debbie Downer side. Let's turn it around. Let's see it from a different angle. You have to catch yourself sometimes. But I like the neutrality because that's when you do start catching yourself. And the patience is a good time too, because you have time to catch yourself because you're not trying to like steamroll your way through anything, It's great. Ooh, warrior. That's great with Uranus and Queen of Swords. Strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. Well, I don't necessarily agree that we have to conquer the ego so much as we just simply don't have to be victimized by it. Ego is a wonderful tool to use. It's how we interact. It's how we create. It's how we have the confidence to self-express. But now it is a time to maybe say, let me just channel, which is why I feel that delegation or to delegate tasks to other people is a good idea, because then you actually have that space with the High Priestess and Temperance to channel a feeling, to channel some kind of a pull. Right? Because I feel like the universe communicates with us by pulling us towards things, pulling us toward a place or a person or toward a certain website or something like that. But we need to create that space so that pull can happen. And if we're not feeling a pull, that is okay. Okay, we don't have to like force that. That's why patience is coming through right now. But I also feel there's something going on with you of like, I want to get it done. I want to clear out my plate. I want to check all the items off the list. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. Like, I want to make sure that I have my space. And maybe for those of you who are, getting ready for the holidays, you're like, I want to make sure that my December is more free because I need to have more time for X, Y, and Z with my family or whatever. And then the last card is confrontation. Ooh, that's a weird card. Pick your battles wisely. And the fact they use battles, plus we have warriors, plus we have Uranus here, which he's very, I know that Jupiter is very, the lightning bolt and all that, but he's also a really thundery planet too, very electrical. So there could be some sparks that fly. Now, Queen of Swords does not like confrontation. The assessing energy does not like confrontation either. So I don't necessarily foresee you getting in the middle of things. However, it's possible that something may cross your path, which is why, again, don't judge. Don't pick sides. Don't put yourself in that place. You need the neutrality right now. You need it. I don't quite know why, but the cards are suggesting that you do. And you don't want to be polarized in any way. Stay out of things, especially like online conversations, right? Just get out of the comments. Right? Get out of the comments section. Don't worry about what everyone else says, and just keep your head down and focus on the things that you can control. All right. It's preparing you for something. I'm not just telling you because it's, my opinion of what I think you should do. It's a preparation for something. And we need to not be in that tense energy because the abundance is trying to flower. And if we are restricting it with polarization, then we are probably going to experience fewer blossoms. Okay? All right, you guys. Gonna keep it short this week. You guys know I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. All right, pile number 3. You guys selected the Lapis Lazuli. Let's go ahead and see what comes through here. Okay, 3 of Swords, Queen of Coins. Okay, you guys really might need to take some time or some space away from someone, maybe? Seeing back being turned on the King of Swords. This guy definitely does not understand the whole hermit vibe and is still going after something. Like, there's definitely people not picking up on your vibe right now. Like, they're really not reading the room very well. They may be even breaking their own hearts right now. Kind of just doing it to themselves. And I have this, look how yellow this card is. Look how like blue and white all these cards are, gray. And then we have, boom, like this splash of color. This is definitely you guys for sure. Kind of standing out. There's something different. Even the stones are blue, right? There's something different about that Queen of Coins. And this could be, you know what I love about my Queen of Coins is how she's just looking down at her coin, just minding her own business. I just don't think that she wants to have like weighing on her shoulders the responsibility of anyone else's choices, right? And I think that she's in this place of, you know what, I planted my seeds, I planted my garden. You don't get to come in and mess with my garden. You have to learn how to plant it yourself. And I don't necessarily know that she's going to be really that nice about it. I just don't know. Mars is direct again, you know, in Western it's in Aries, and in Sidereal it's in Pisces. And both of those actually, you know, Pisces can be a pretty aggressive energy sometimes, especially with the Mars placement there. So I feel that there could be something that kind of like pops. Look at how barren, okay? We kind of have like a couple trees. Here we have kind of a snowy ground, nothing in the background. Again, it's kind of just like dirt and a couple trees. She's like in this lush, beautiful, overabundant garden. And that's all you. Like, that's your work. That's what you've done and you've created. And I almost feel like someone is trying to come in and be like, give me a piece of that. And you're like, no, you entitled jerk. Like, no, go do it yourself. Like, I did it. I had to do it myself. You have to go do it yourself now. Do you guys remember when I was doing these weeklies in 2018 and I kept talking about the separation of like a high vibe versus low vibe? And I kept talking about it. It was like every single week. And I'm starting to really, even now 2 years later, be like, oh my God, I know exactly what all those readings meant now. You know, because this is what happens, you know, like when someone decides to do the work and grow and they start reaping the rewards and succeeding and someone doesn't, there's a separation. And it could be a friendship. It could be that you've outgrown your workplace. It could be you've outgrown a certain relationship. It could be you've outgrown a lot of things. But I also, like, I don't see you. It's not about sharing. It's not about that. It's about giving other people the opportunity to learn how to work for the rewards. Right? Because I sense an entitlement coming through here with this Knight of Swords. And the Hermit is just not about it. I think this is the lesser version of the King of Swords. Someone pretending maybe that they don't necessarily care. Someone pretending that they're cool with it, that it's all fine, okay, fine, and yet they're not. Some of you may have someone distanced. You know, you guys know I don't always like to do like us versus them kind of tarot card readings because it doesn't always really apply to everybody. This could be different versions of yourself too. Hopefully you're not battling yourself too much. But I do feel distinctly that there's at least 2 people involved here, and there's a reflection going on, and the Hermit is very aware that that reflection is happening, and he's just watching it, and he's watching someone else have a little bit of a freak out because someone else doesn't feel responsible for their bad choices. You know? But I look at that two of Wands. It's like that Knight of Swords is leaping out of that Two of Wands. It's like, oh my God, I have an idea of what I want in my life. That Queen of Coins has it. Boom. And he's trying to like go grab it, trying to reach for it, trying to take it rather than earn it. But the King of Swords, I think this is a filter. This is the higher self filter that's like, no, you got to earn it. So there's another person in your life that's having an inner battle with themselves, and you're triggering them in some way with your state of being. I don't know. You might be witnessing someone just kind of, they'll either distance themselves, they'll either go quiet on you, they might not communicate very well right now, or they might be a little over aggressive and then run away. You might have to have a little bit of a battle or a conversation at least to say something. The thing with the lapis lazuli is that it does, it is connected very much with the third eye, but it's also blue. So it does have that fifth chakra as well, which is the throat. So there is going to be some level of communication for sure. Some level of communication. And, Mercury is still in Scorpio, making its way into Sagittarius on December 1st. Still a couple of weeks away from that. But, Mercury through Scorpio has been about truth. And this Mercury retrograde has been about truth and speaking your truth. First, we have to admit it, and then we have to speak it and communicate it. And you guys are kind of hitting that it's time to tell other people your truth phase right now. You have to say the words. And if you have to break someone's heart in order to do that, but it's for the sanctity of this Garden of Eden that we've got going on here. Like you've worked hard, you've earned it, and you deserve to not have anyone come and just like take it, Good news is I think this person has just enough self-awareness. They have just enough self-awareness, which is good. And I think they're in a growth spurt. They're in a growth spurt. Delight. Kind of a weird card to get. Like, I just think you're good. That card applies to you. You're good. And I don't know, you're just kind of living your life, singing your song, doing your things, and no one can really mess with you right now. This is where real strength comes in. When that third eye is really illumined and you're not like fake woke, but you're like really woke, really awake, truly awakened. There is always peace. No matter what anyone else has going on, there will always be peace within that garden. There's even flowers here, which I love. The unexpected, okay? Well, there might be something unexpected that happens. Probably a good thing. I will say that this card doesn't really worry me that much. To me, it often indicates a healing. Sometimes it can hurt when the wound is exposed, but you always have to expose it in order to mend it. So it's kind of like a bittersweet type of deal. But I'm not worried about the Three of Swords. I don't think that anything is, there's no like end of a relationship or anything like that. It's not that big a deal. It's something that you just have to communicate through and talk to and be really, really honest about, and allow the other person some space, because I think they are going to need some space. You might be also requiring space too. You might be requiring space. Resistance. Kind of like how she's got that fist, and then the trees are kind of popping out. Kind of reminds me of like when you reach into the sand and you try to grab a fistful of sand. Like the harder you cling onto it, the faster it runs through your fingers. It's like, that's the thing, is I just don't see you trying. This is like the month right now. This is the month, end of November and in through December, where everyone who's been doing all the heavy lifting is just not willing to lift anyone else's load. Like everyone has to do their fair share. Everyone has to do their own inner work. And everyone is like, you know what? I am done. I cannot heal anyone else. It is not my responsibility. I'm not even going to try. And that's like, this is like the line. This is where everyone is drawing the line right now. Like if you're not going to do it, that's on you. But I've done it. So I'm moving on. And there's no remorse. There's no regret. And there's no guilt about it. And sometimes that can trigger other people too. People are resisting the work. They are resisting it. They're trying to contain themselves. They're trying to stay the same. And I think you're witnessing it. Like first, and then we have Saturn with the resistance card. Saturn with the 3 of Swords. Yeah, okay. Something tough. But I love how he's got like pearls. I'm having like falling in love with Saturn lately. I really am. Because I'm starting to understand how he works. I'm starting to understand the purpose of the restriction and the purpose of the difficulty and the lesson. All it is, you guys, it's so stupid simple. All it is just finding the inner order. That's all Saturn is. It's just like find the inner peace and every other area of your life will fall into place. It really is that simple in concept. Doing it is a different story, but just go inside. And I know that's where you've been. I know that's where you've been. Confidence is your key to success. Yeah. And you are going to be confident. I love the Leo line with the yellow here, even the yellow Saturn, right? Saturn being the yellow planet. Have you guys ever looked at Saturn through a telescope? Oh my God, it's so pretty. So pretty. And then of course, yellow is that 3rd chakra, the empowerment, confidence, no feelings of shame, no feelings of guilt, no feelings of fear. It's just so pure. And that's just where you are. And I think you feel really good about it. Samaritan. Okay. I'm going to read both of these. There's a light attribute and a shadow attribute. The light attribute says, refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. That's funny, like to prefer to ignore. Okay. I'm not saying you're just going to like let someone go down on a sinking ship. Clearly, you're not that cold-hearted, right? But it's also, not your responsibility to force them to jump off the ship either, okay? But if they're willing to jump off the ship, if they're willing to give it a go, of course you'll help them. Of course you will show them how to plant seeds. Of course you'll show them how to attain inner delight. Okay, of course you will. The shadow attribute, exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. This is what I had to that's kind of a funny thing because there will still be some people who will be tempted by the ego trip of their own success with their inner peace, right? And it will just kind of flip back into what it was before. And I have to just kind of laugh at that because it's something that it's always there. It's always that possibility that we could, make kind of a little bit of a wrong turn and kind of turn our positive progress into something not so great. So you have to make sure that you are still standing in your confidence and that you are not reverting backwards. That's where the Hermit really, really comes out to play. It's like the awareness of what's really going on, of what you're doing, the awareness of your real intentions and the honesty about those intentions before any actions are taken. Okay, very important. And face your fears. Release the power of fear. I love that here with the confidence. I don't see you being afraid. I don't see you being afraid of the consequences of truth. I don't see you being afraid of what someone else is going to do or what someone else is going to say because you're telling them like it is. Maybe some of you are just like that naturally, by nature. Maybe some of you are just turning into Saturn, right? Which is a really great place to be. I think Saturn is I think we need a little bit more Saturn in ourselves a little bit. Cold, harsh truth of just like unadulterated, unfiltered, unedited truth. Boom, there it is. You cannot escape. Like, the Saturnian nature knows the truth. Kind of like Pluto, right? It just knows. And I think you're doing an excellent job, and you will continue to do an excellent job of getting better at that. To the point where all you ever are is truth. But this was the year where we came into it. This was the year where we admitted it, where we shed our superficial layers and let them go. Now we're all just a little bit raw and vulnerable, maybe a little bit chilly because we could let all our layers go, right? Feeling a little naked, but we'll adjust. It's much better to be like this than wearing a whole bunch of fake stuff, you know? All right, you guys, I'm going to keep them short this week. You guys know I love you. I wish you absolutely nothing but the best. I hope you have an amazing week. Talk to you soon. Take care.